Good evening. Welcome to the Planning Development Advisory Committee for May the 11th. I'd like to call the meeting to order, so I'll go around the table and ask for to signify your presence. Deep Bassi,
Present.
Paul Sedra,
Present.
Dan Kennedy,
Present.
Dennis O'Connor,
Present.
and I, John Sapoulos, am present as well. Okay, so in attendance will be our clerk, Courtney Hoyt-Fox, our secretary treasurer, Lynn Banks, county planning staff, Zach Pritz, and our deputy clerk, Jeff Bunn. And welcome to the meeting. There are two meetings today. One is the Committee of Adjustment, and the second being our advisory committee. There will be two minor variance applications for consideration of the Committee of Adjustment, and there will be 4 severance applications on 1 lot line adjustment for comments to be made by the advisory committee, which we passed on to the Land Division Committee of the county. Please note that the meeting is video and audio recording, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means, you are consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Okay, let's move into disclosure of pecuniary interest. Lynn, did we receive any disclosure of pecuniary interest?
No, Mr. Chair, we did not.
Okay, gentlemen, anybody have any disclosure of pecuniary interest since?
No.
No. No.
Okay, thank you. So let's move into approval minutes of April 13th, 2021. May I have a mover? Moved by Paul, second by Dennis. Okay, let's go around the table. All in favor? Deep?
Approved.
Paul? Paul?
Approved.
Okay, Dan?
Approved.
Dennis?
Approved.
And I approve as well. Okay, we'll move to the next item of the committee adjustment, the application for minor variance or permission under Section 45 of the Planning Act. And I'll give a brief intro. The purpose of a hearing is to provide the public with the opportunity to ask questions or express their views with respect to a minor variance application before us today. The township requests that you please notify the secretary committee by email at lbanks@puslinch.ca if you wish to be on record or would like to be notified of future hearings and decisions regarding the minor variance application. The format of the hearing is as follows. Staff will present information reports specifically outlining the purpose, application, summarizing compliance with the township's notification and submission requirements, and outlining staff comments, agency comments, public comments of those who could not attend. Then we'll ask the applicant or agent to present the purpose and details of the application and any other further information. Following this, the public will have the opportunity to ask for clarification, ask questions, or express their views on the proposal, and you'll have a maximum of 10 minutes to speak. Following this, the members of the committee can likewise obtain clarification, ask questions. And then once that's done, the committee will deliberate the application and render a decision, and decision will be subject to a 20-day appeal period. So let's move on to the first item, 6A, minor variance application D13-HUT, James and Sharon Hutton, 6547 Wellington Road 34, rear part lots 2 and 3, concession 2, Township of Puslinch, requesting relief of zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.2B1 accessory apartments to permit an accessory apartment to be located 74 meters from the single detached dwelling on the lot instead of a maximum of 15 meters as required. Okay, so we're going to next item. Okay, Lynn, would you please summarize the application, notification, and submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, and public comments and recommendations?
Certainly. Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met, and the following comment from the Township of Portage Fire Department was received. To ensure adequate access to the principal residence and the proposed accessory apartment, the access route from the street to the buildings must be wide enough, have suitable construction to be able to handle the heavy loads of the fire trucks loaded with water, and have no overhead obstructions over the access route less than 5 meters high. They will need confirmation that the access route is suitable.
Okay, thank you. Okay, would our clerk, Courtney Hortfox, have the owner applicant join the panelists to present their application?
Good evening.
Yes, would you please state your name and address?
Matthew Robson, 129 Walter Street, Kitchener, Ontario.
Okay, I understand that you wish to defer the application, is that correct?
That's correct. We just want to work on the mapping for the property with respect to the zoning. This is the first time this has been brought up, but we received the staff report and the NE zone was highlighted as being over top of the area of the accessory dwelling. So that was the first time that this was brought up. So we just want time to address this and just confirm that exact mapping.
Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll read the document out and ask the committee to determine if they're going to wish to defer or carry on. So in the matter of Section 45 Planning Act as amended and the new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance, the purpose and effect of the applicant is to request relief from zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, permit accessory apartment to be located 74 meters from a single detached dwelling on the lot extent of maximum 15 meters as required. So I'll ask if wish to defer this application. So we'll go around the table. Deep,
Defer.
Paul? Can't hear you, Paul.
Defer.
Thank you. Dan?
Defer.
Dennis?
Defer.
And I defer as well, so it's unanimous, so no need to pursue this any further.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move into the next one. Item 6B, minor variance application D13-B UU Ross Bulma 6923 Concession 1 Part Law 17 Concession Gore Township of Puslinch, requesting relief for zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended from section 4.16.2 general provisions MDS2 new or expanding livestock facilities and manure storage facilities. The purpose and effect of the application is to provide relief on the minimum distance separation to MDS2 setback requirements to permit approximately reduced minimum distance separation type 2 of 106.6 meters, a difference of 30.32 meters instead of 137 meters. The applicant is proposing a new barn and cannot meet the required distance from the residential dwelling located at 6895 Concession 1. Okay, Lynn, would you please summarize the application notification, submission requirements outlining staff, agency, and public comments of those who could not attend, and any recommendations?
Certainly. Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met. The following comment was received from the Township of Puslinch Fire Department. Their comment is, please ensure that the access route from the street to the new barn is suitable for emergency vehicles to travel on, including no overhead limbs from trees to a height of 5 meters above the driveway, suitable width of the driveway, and the ability to handle the weight imposed by our fire trucks filled with water.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask our clerk, Courtney, would you please have the owner applicant join the panelists to present their application? Okay, Courtney, could you please also put up the sketch as well so our applicant can talk to it? Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll ask for the applicant to introduce themselves and provide the discussion on the item.
Hello, it's Ross Burma here.
Okay, Ross, go ahead.
So just explain the situation.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so we'd like to proposals to build a new barn. And I'm within the required MDS setback. So I had to apply for this minor variance. So that's, I guess, the reason for the meeting here tonight.
Okay, we'll ask the public if there's anybody there. Lynn, are you aware of any people who have registered to speak?
No, I did not receive any requests.
Okay, Courtney, would you please ask the audience if there's anybody who wishes to speak on this item?
If there's any attendees that would wish to make a comment, if you could just use the raise your hand function. Mr. Chair, I don't see any hands being raised.
Okay, so let's take it into the committee members. So we'll start with Deep. Do you have any questions of the applicant?
No, I do not.
Okay, we'll ask Paul.
No, no questions.
Dan?
Just one question. I was curious why the barn couldn't actually just be moved more to the left to put it in compliance.
Yeah, the reason that is there's a neighboring barn on the other property, and we're going to be a community manure holding and sawdust facility there. So we wanted to work together with that barn. So it was important to kind of have it as close as possible with the other barn.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dennis?
No, I'm good. Well presented plan.
Okay. All right, I'm good as well. All right, so I'll go through the verbiage and we'll ask for either approved, opposed, or deferred. In the matter of Section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, the new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended, an application for minor variance requesting relief on minimum distance separation 2 MDS2 setback requirement to permit a reduced minimum distance type 2 of approximately 106.6 meters, a difference of 30.32 meters instead of 137 meters. The applicant is proposing a new barn and cannot meet the distance from the residential dwelling located 6895 concession 1. So go around the table. So again, it's either approved, opposed, or deferred. Deep?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
Dan?
Approve.
Dennis?
Approve.
And I approve as well. So it's approved and it's subject to a 20-day appeal period.
Good, thank you.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Okay, so let's, we have no other matters and have a mover to adjourn the Committee of Adjustment at 7:14.
No,
Moved by Deep, second by Dan. All in favor, Deep? Deep in favor?
You're muted, Deep.
Sorry, in favor.
Okay, Paul?
Approved.
Dan?
in favor.
Dennis?
In favor.
And I'm in favor as well. All right, so the Committee of Adjustment is approved. Now we move to the Planning and Development Advisory Committee meeting. As I mentioned at the start of the meeting, we have 4 severance applications and one lot line adjustment to provide comments to the Land Division Committee. And again, for those who are joining us late, the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in meeting by electronic means or consenting to have your likeness and comments and posted on YouTube. So we'll go around the table for the roll call. So Deep,
Present.
Paul,
Present.
Dan,
Present.
Dennis,
Present.
and I, John Sapoulos, am present as well. Lynn, did we have any disclosures of procuring interest?
No, Mr. Chair, we did not.
Okay, does anyone else have any disclosure of procuring interest?
No.
No.
Okay, I hear none. Okay, let's go on to next item is approval of minutes of April 13th, 2021. May I have a mover and a seconder?
I can move.
Moved by Dan,
Seconded.
second by Deep. All in favor? Deep,
Approved.
Paul,
Approved.
Dan,
Approve.
Dennis,
Approved.
and I approve as well. So we have no applications for a site or urban design review. We have no zoning bylaw amendment. We move into land division. The first one is severance application B17-21, also known as D10-SPE, Corey Spears, Lot 2 and Part Lot 3, Registered Plan 131, municipally known as 11 Farnham Road, Township of Puslinch. Proposed severance is 0.4 hectares with 11-meter frontage, vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel is 51.4 meters, frontage by 80 meters, or 0.41 hectares, existing and proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling, garage, shed, and pool. Do we have an agent or the applicant to give us a brief presentation?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'll move Jeff Buseman over now.
Great, thank you. Jeff, can you hear us? You're muted if you're there.
I'm sorry, I had troubles unmuting. I'm here.
Okay, Courtney, do we have a drawing we can put up and Jeff can talk to it?
Okay, shall I proceed?
Yes, please do.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, committee members. This is I'm going to call it an infill type parcel on Farnham Road. The idea is that we're going to have a severance sort of, I'm going to say, behind the existing house. The frontage would be about 11 meters wide for the severed lot. We found a route that between a couple of rows of trees that we'd like to put the driveway. The whole open area in the back is quite large and quite spacious. The severance will be 0.4 of a hectare. I think that at first I was a little hesitant about the severance, but after I went to visit the property, I found this is a great opportunity for this severance. The couple that own the property now, they plan to live in the house that's in the back, and the mother-in-law move into the house in the front. So we will need a minor variance because there's an 11-meter frontage and the minimum is 25, but 11 meters is plenty of room for the driveway, and the area in the back is plenty large enough for a new house and septic. And we did dialogue with some of the neighbors in advance to say, you know, you're supportive of this, and we got support from a couple of neighbors that we've talked to, but not all of them. We weren't able to speak to all of the neighbors. So I'm here to open answer any questions you might have on this severance.
Okay, start with you, Deep.
Jeff, is there a safe entrance possible on this new parcel?
Yep. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Paul?
I'm okay on this.
Okay, Dan?
I'm fine with this.
Dennis?
I'm okay as well.
Just have a quick question. There seems to be a dip as you go from the road and comes back up again toward the end. Are those grades manageable?
You mean from the road to the property, like where the new driveway will go?
Correct.
I don't think that's an issue. It didn't hit me as an issue when I was on site. I would say it's not an issue.
Okay. All
I
right.
do,
So,
now that you mention it, I do remember it drops down, but it's not that fast.
okay. Lynn, do we have any comments from staff?
We did receive one comment from the fire department, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
And their comment is they have no concerns with the application, but because of the distance off the road to location of the new home, if the owners can consider keeping obstructions and future obstructions, including tree limbs overhanging the driveway, trimmed back, it would be appreciated to ensure that their emergency vehicles can quickly access the area around the home should a medical or fire emergency occur.
Okay. I guess, Lynn, we'll have the standard comments that you put in.
Yes, that the owner satisfy the requirements of the Township of Puslinch's financial and otherwise including taxes, consent review and condition clearance fee, cash in lieu. Also that they obtain an approved entrance permit, verifying safe access and sight lines to the severed parcel. And the final one is that the owner obtain a minor variance for the severed parcel to permit the reduced lot frontage of 11 meters.
Okay. I'll go around the table. Does anybody wish to add any other comments? Deep?
No, I'm okay.
Paul?
No, I'm fine.
Dan?
No, thanks. I'm fine.
Dennis?
I'm okay now.
Okay, I'm fine as well. Okay, so let's go around the table again and move to forward the comments as read out by Lynn. Have a mover. Dennis, second. Deep. Okay, let's go around the table. Deep.
Approved.
Paul. Dan.
Approved.
Dennis.
Approve.
And I approve as well. Okay, so I forgot, I neglected to mention the fact that if there's any attendees watching the hearing and would like to give comments or questions regarding the application currently under discussion, I advise that their comments can be heard at the Land Division Committee. I know that we have had several letters on one of the severance applications, and I do not plan to read them out, but certainly make note that they have been received. And as I mentioned earlier, the discussion here is for the benefit of the committee to pass any comments that the committee wishes to do so onto the Land Division Committee. So let's move on to next item, lot line adjustment application B18-21, also known as D10 MIL. John and Douglas Miller, part lot 13, concession 2, no municipal address, Township Puslinch. Proposed lot line adjustment is 2.5 hectares with 41 meter frontage, vacant land to be added to abutting rural residential agricultural parcel, John and Douglas Miller. Retained parcel is 59 meters frontage by 89 meters or 0.47 hectares. Vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Okay. Jeff, are you the person on this one as well?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay, can we just wait for the sketch to come up?
Sure.
So this is for a lot line adjustment severance application. I recall we created this severance back in 2006, a fairly large parcel. with the idea that the future house would be built behind the wetlands, and that a future house was going to be potentially for the owner's daughter who might live there. They never did build a house. They would like to make the severance now smaller. So you can see the parcel in the front of, say, 59 meters wide and 80 meters deep. So that will be the lands to be retained, and that'll be 0.47 of a hectare. The rest of that existing parcel of 2.5 hectares will merge with the really big piece from which it came from originally. We set the severance as far back as we could. What we're having is the limiting distance is setting 30 meters from the wetland limit. That's immediately behind the severance there. So I think it's a good severance. We have a safe entrance at the front on the right. I think this is a good adjustment to make. And the wetland will be now part of the whole big property and instead of this severance. Be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, Deep, start with you.
Jeff, the retained parcel, does that also have access for a driveway or no?
It has if you can see on the sketch, we do have a proposed entrance on the front right.
Okay, I see that. Yeah. So for both parcels, the safe entrance is possible.
Say that again, Dee?
Safe entrance is possible for both parcels?
Well, no, the piece in the back is going to be added, like it says lands to be severed. That's going to be merged with the big 11.7 hectare parcel.
Oh, I
so
see.
they'll be using their existing driveway.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Paul.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, Dan,
I'm good with this.
Dennis.
I'm good.
Okay, I just have a question of planning staff, Zachary. With respect to the frontage, there's a change in the frontage. Do you have a ruling whether or not a minor variance will be required?
So through the chair, the requirements for the retained would be 120 meters. But when they did the severance in 2006, they did achieve a minor variance at that time. So planning staff, we're going to look at that original minor variance and the decision and see if that minor variance would carry over to this new one or if a new one would have to be required. From a practical standpoint, the lot is getting smaller and the retained land still meets the 25 meter frontage because it's less than 4 hectares.
Okay, so I guess one of the comments will be subject to minor variance approval, or one of the comments will be minor variance approval will be required. Lindy, can you read the comments you have?
Certainly. The only comment I received was from the fire department. Their comment was that the department has no concerns with the application. However, for any structures that are built or proposed that are a substantial distance from the road allowance, please consider the overhead clearances and driveway construction capable of supporting their emergency vehicles when constructing and maintaining the driveways to ensure the quickest response in an emergency or fire.
Okay, do you have the standard clauses as well?
Yes, I do. We have the first one is the financial, our standard financial clause. The second one is an approved entrance permit to the retained parcel to the satisfaction of the township. And we're going to add a condition that the owner achieve zoning conformity for the severed parcel to permit the reduced lot frontage if required.
Okay, did we receive any comments, Lynn, from the public on this one?
No, I did not.
How about agency comments?
No, I did not receive any from any agencies either.
Okay, fair enough. So let's go around the table, ask if anybody has any comments they wish to add. Deep?
No, I do not.
Paul? Paul?
No comments.
Okay. Dan?
No,
Dennis?
No addition, no.
I don't have any comments either, so I'll move that we include the minor variance for the frontage be included. The requirement for the minor variance on the reduced frontage be included in the comments and include all of Lynn's comments. So have a mover and a seconder.
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Dan, second. Dennis, all in favor? Deep,
Approved.
Paul? Paul?
Approved.
Dennis? Dan?
Approved. Approved.
Dennis?
Approved.
And I approve as well. Okay, let's move into the next one, severance application B19-21, also known as D10-LIS, Jordan Liesel and Emily Harper, Part Lot 6, Concession 5, municipally known as 4753 Wellington Road 32, Township of Puslinch. Proposed severance is 30-meter frontage by 128 meters or 0.39 hectares, existing and proposed rural residential use, existing shed to be removed. Retained parcel is 30-meter frontage by 128 meters or 0.39 hectares, existing proposed rural residential use, existing dwelling and sheds to be removed. Okay, Jeff, I assume you're doing this one as well?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, if we could share the screen and then. Thank you, Mr. Chair and committees members. This application is, I'm going to consider it a good infill parcel. The parcel is about 2 acres or 0.8 of a hectare now. The proposal is to split it right down the middle. All of County Road 32 has been widened on this side of the road, except for this particular parcel. So we envision the County of Wellington Roads Department, we expect them and will ask for a road widening along the front. That's a typical 5.2 meter road widening. As a result, that takes just a little bit of area off the parcel. We're left with 0.39 of a hectare for each of the 2 parcels. In somewhat a debate, does that comply with zoning or not? Some feedback at this moment says no, it doesn't comply with the zoning of 0.4, and we'll probably be back for a minor variance for allowing 0.39 of a hectare instead of 0.40. The other thing to think about is MDS on this one. You can see we've got a lot of lines and distances to the barns. There's a barn to the south. The barn to the south, we meet MDS on that one because MDS says when there are 4 or more houses closer, then the minimum distance shall be the 4th house, if you will. So in this case, the 4th house is 265 meters away from the barn to the south, and we have 285 meters. So we meet the MDS for that one. The barn across the road, though, we don't quite meet the MDS. The distance away from the proposed lot is about the same. In this case, we've got about 280 meters to that barn. The one to the south, we had 285. Because of something, and when we do MDS calculations, there's something called a type A and a type B. Type A kicks in when there are 3 or more dwellings congregated together. And that is obviously we have 3 or more dwellings in that case, in this case here. So when we have type B, the minimum distance doubles. So right now, under type B, the minimum distance to that barn is 462 meters. If this was a type A scenario, the minimum distance would be 231. We have 280. We looked at the whole idea again, if there are 4 or more houses closer, then we take the 4th. Problem is we don't have 4 that are closer. In this case, we have 2 that are closer. So we will be coming to the committee for a minor variance for the MDS on the barn across the road. If you think about it, there's a lot of houses already in this area and they've all lived there, been there for a long time. So in my mind, the conflict with the barn and the constraints on the barns have existed for a while, and any expansion of that barn would be limited by the houses that are there already and not these new ones. This is a great infill lot, great opportunity to take a parcel of this size and split it in half. The other comment I should make is that all the buildings, house, sheds, everything's being removed on this. Everything's pretty run down, and it's going to have a fresh start. So not only it's a great infill opportunity, we're going to have fresh, new-looking homes on these two parcels. So happy to answer any questions or comments that the committee might have.
Okay, start with you, Deep.
Thanks, Jeff. Quick question, would this be subject to hydrological study or no?
I mean, that's a decision not in my court. I would say a hydro G study would be a pretty, let me put it this way. If the parcel's 0.4 of a hectare, a hydro G has never been asked for. Now we got 0.39. And the only reason we got 0.39 is because we got to give up a road widening. To ask for a hydro G would be just a little strong of a request.
Okay, I think that's a question better answered by our county planner, Zach.
Oh, through the chair, our as Jeff noted, our standard response when it is less than 0.4 would be that a hydro G would be required. When a minor variance does come in for lot area, though, we do look at it on a case-by-case basis. So to respond to this meeting, we would say that a hydro G is required, although we could have further discussions with the applicant as well, too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions, Steve?
No, I don't.
Okay, Paul?
I guess maybe a question for Zach, because we haven't really seen too many when they go under the 0.4. I guess, so the 0.39, we're able to support that through a minor variance. I just want to confirm that.
Through the chair, I think typically when a lot area reduction request comes in, it depends on the circumstance. If it's a significant reduction, or if we are concerned about some, say, smaller lots in the area that are have existing wells and septics, and we think that there could be a conflict, then maybe we would suggest something like a rezoning. I think in a case like this, the parcels would still remain in the agricultural zone. So I would say we haven't determined if it's a rezoning or a minor variance, although it does seem very minor to go from 0.4 to 0.39.
I'm good, thanks.
Anything else, Paul?
No, that's it, thank you.
Great. Dan?
I was just curious, is this supported by the neighbors?
I haven't had any feedback. I don't know.
All right, thanks. That's it for me.
Lynn, can you comment, please, on the distribution of the document, or it should be for Zach, I guess. Zach, what it went through you.
Yeah, so through the chair, the notice in the application package gets circulated to any property within 60 meters. So from basically each corner of the property, 60 meters from there. As far as I know, we haven't received any comments from the neighbors, but I could be wrong, but I don't think we've received any.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dennis?
Yeah, I guess a couple questions with regard to MDS. Maybe these are for Zach. If we change the MDS down to a lower level, does that apply to the barn when it wants to expand? Does a reduced MDS then apply?
Through the chair, that's a good question. I think, so if the barn at 6601 was to expand, that'd be an MDS2 expansion. I mean, there are a number of other homes that it would be in conflict with.
But we know if we make the MDS 280, is that not the figure for that barn now?
Well, there is a house that's closer at 264, so it wouldn't be the closest house, but it's not the fourth house either, as Jeff was discussing. So there are houses.
The standard MDS2, it would be a reduced figure because we've changed MDS, correct? You can't expect the farmer to have a wider distance than the houses going closer to their barns, right?
Right.
So he would have a lower number than MDS2 would generate.
Yeah. So there would be another house in conflict potentially, depending on how big he expanded it. Yeah.
And poultry being the highest offensive manure type, if we get these closer areas and we start to get complaints, they might not be there now, but everybody changes, and you get a person from Toronto buying the house and all of a sudden realize there's 40,000 broilers around them and 10,000 turkeys. In July, dumping manure on the fields with the lower MDS, who looks after those complaints? Is that still a county one if OMAP doesn't deal with it? Or does that become the township because we reduce the MDS?
Yeah, through the chair. So MDS is the county concern because it's the new law creation. I mean, the complaints, it's hard to say where a complaint would go. I think it would probably go to all three. But the township generally deals with more complaints than the county with something like that. So
I was more referring to the right to farm legislation that says that the best agricultural practice, which goes to OMAP first and then goes to the county if the OMAP doesn't arbitrate.
Sure, I think we have discussed this before, and I think that's the case when there is
still a county's problem. Okay.
Yeah, when it comes to MDS 1, it's the county. When it's MDS 2 and the barn is expanding, then it's the township responsibility.
Okay, I'm good.
Okay, so Lynn, can you read what you have in the way of comments to the county?
Mr. Chair, I did not receive any comments. The fire department was the only one who commented. They had no concerns with the application.
Okay, and your standard comments, can you read them out again, please?
Certainly, we'll have our 2 standard comments regarding financial obligations and an improved entrance permit. We'll be adding to the first one that the owner achieves zoning conformity for the reduced MDS setbacks for both retained and severed parcels. And the other one will be that the owner achieves zoning conformity for reduced lot size for both the retained and the severed parcels.
Okay, that sounds good. Anybody else wish to add anything else? Deep? Did you say no, Deep, or you're muted, Deep?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Paul?
Fine, thanks.
Dan?
No, I'm fine.
Dennis?
I'm good.
Okay, and I'm good as well. So we'll have a mover and a seconder for the comments as was read out by Lynn. Have a mover?
I'll move it.
Okay, moved by Deep, second by Dan. All in favor? Deep?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
Dan?
Approved.
Dennis?
Approved.
And I approve as well. Okay, let's move on to item 8D. Severance application B20-21, also known as D10-SLO, John Sloot, Part Lot 10, Concession 9, municipally known as 985 Watson Road South, Township of Puslinch. Proposed severance is 1.05 hectares with 81-meter frontage, vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel 6.7 hectares with 37-meter frontage, existing proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling and 3 sheds. Okay, assume you're on again, Jeff?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Please go ahead.
Just wait for the sketch to come up. So this is a severance at the corner of Watson Road and Hume Road, just south of the village of Arkell. A lot of work has gone into the analysis of this severance. The parcel is a little odd shape, partly because of the environmental factors in this property. There's a very small wetland near the front, and that would be encapsulated in this parcel. There's also another wetland to the bottom left, as you see it, and the line on the diagonal there is intended to be set to be, in this case, 40 meters from the wetland limit, or 46, sorry. and 30 meters from the significant woodland drip line. So the idea is to use the existing entrance. And right now the existing entrance is quite a curve, as you can see. Instead, a new driveway would come in and then eventually go to a building envelope. And that building envelope is about half a hectare. So that building envelope is quite large and plenty large for a new dwelling. On the retained parcel, the existing driveway would be used all the way except for the portion at the road. It would be extended and pulled through right to the front to the road there, to Watson Road. This will require a couple of minor variances. One is MDS for the barns that are located to the south there, and also for the frontage of the retained. The retained is set up to be 38 meters. But as we know, for parcels that are greater than 4 hectares, the minimum frontage jumps up to 120 meters. In this case, the retained will be 6.7 hectares. And we don't have near 120 meters, so we'll ask for a minor variance so that we have a frontage of 37 meters instead of 120. But the lot, in my mind, functions more like your typical rural residential lot, and where 25 is the minimum. Like I said, environmental impact study has been done to support it. They're getting bigger. In terms of well over 100 pages, and you may have received a copy of that already. So any questions or comments, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, Deep, start with you.
Oh, I'm good, Jeff. Thank you.
Paul?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Dan?
I'm fine with this.
Dennis?
I'm good.
Just a comment, Jeff, can you comment on the MDS calculation?
Yeah, you know what? I forget what the minimum is supposed to be. I'm just looking at my, I don't know what it is offhand. Oh no, the required distance is 392 meters because it's a type B classification again. If it was a type A, it'd be 280 meters, and we have about 290.
Okay, and I understand the owner of the barn is also the owner of the property.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, fair enough. I noticed there's no septic shown on the existing dwelling. I assume it's well outside the range of the proposed severance.
That's right. That's right. It's in the vicinity of the house. I guess it's so far away, I didn't think about putting it on.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, Lynn, did we receive any agency comments or any public comments?
We did not receive any public comments. And Mr. Chair, the only comment I received from township departments that it was circulated to was the fire department. They had no concerns with this application.
Okay, very good. Okay, can you read out the comments you intend to send?
Certainly, we will have our standard financial obligations. We'll have requirement for improved entrance permit for the retained parcel. We'll be adding that the owner achieves zoning conformity for the retained parcel for the reduced lot frontage, and that the owner achieves zoning conformity for the retained parcel for reduced MDS setbacks.
Okay, so go around the table, see anybody wishes to add anything. Deep?
No, good, thank you.
Paul?
I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, Dan?
I'm good.
And Dennis?
I'm good.
Okay, I'm good as well. So I got mover and a seconder for the comments as read out by Lynn. Moved by Dennis, second by Deep. All in favor, Deep?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
Dan?
Approved.
Dennis?
Approved.
I approve as well. Okay, let's move into the next item, severance application D22-21, also known as D10-BRI, Dorothy Briggs, care of David Briggs, Part Lot 20, Concession 4, municipally known as 7004 in Session 4, Township of Puslinch. Proposed severance is 35 meters frontage by 115 meters or 0.4 hectares vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel is 3.6 hectares with 91 meter frontage, existing and proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling, shed, and pool, and the pool is to be removed. Okay, Jeff, I assume you're doing this one as well?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Okay, this is on Concession Road 4, just west of Side Road 20. This is a request for severance on the right, front right corner when you face it from the road. The severance is intended to be 35 meters wide and 115 meters deep to achieve 0.4 hectares. The goal is just to clear the side of the house that's there now. Probably, again, we got MDS in a bizarre situation. Again, the whole idea of when there are 4 or more houses closer to the severance, then you take the 4th one. Well, we don't have 4 to make it work. We have sort of 3, but not 4. You can see where we identified on the sketch. You see a big A there, and it shows 345 meters. That was a minor variance granted for that same barn to the severance that you, or to the parcel that you see that's identified as parcel number 2 in the big circle. That was a minor variance was granted for 345 meters for that one. Due to the configuration of the severance we're proposing, we will have about 320 meters to the barn that's in behind. Again, this is a whole cluster of homes in this whole area, and there's lots of, I'm going to say, existing residential units close, much closer to that barn. But anyways, that's how MDS works. But I'd be happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have on this application.
Okay, Deep.
Thanks, Jeff. I don't have any questions, but I do have a comment. I've noticed this property has been sold conditional. I think maybe one of the conditions was for the severance to occur. Now, would this be a loophole if somebody wants to sell a property and this way they avoid waiting the 5-year term?
That would be a better question of our planning staff, Deep.
Okay, then I'll ask the
Zach,
planning staff.
Zach, could you please comment, answer Deep's questions or provide comments?
Yes, through the chair. The 5-year ownership requirement, I mean, that the example that you're talking about selling the property and then applying for the severance, I mean, that happens in the county. It's not the intent of the policy. The policy is a growth management tool to ensure that properties aren't bought and sold the next day with these types of severances. So I would say it's not the intent, although there isn't necessarily a mechanism for planning staff to really look at it other than what is applied for. So an owner could apply for severance and they could sell the retained property the next day as well too. So it really is, it's maybe not in the spirit of the policy, but it is something that happens in the county.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess my concern was only that we don't want to set up a new precedent, right? So that's the only question I had. Thank you.
Okay, Paul?
No, I drove by there and checked it out, and I think it fits. I'm okay with it.
Okay, Dan?
I'm okay as well.
Dennis?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm concerned when we have a poultry barn that's that close to these houses, because obviously the poultry operation is being 3 or 4 times a year applying manure, but we'll deal with that when the MDS comes up.
Just to answer your question, Zach, were the owners of the barn provided opportunity to provide comments?
Through the chair, I did check with our land division committee. Just give me 1 second to confirm.
I believe it's a One Ontario number.
If I could answer the question, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
That's Lloyd and Lane Weaver, and we approached them for the MDS data sheet in advance. So I believe it was included in the package.
Yeah, and through the chair, they were circulated the application as well too.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you very much. Lynn, were there any written comments received from the public?
Mr. Chair, we did receive 7 objection letters from neighboring landowners. They've been placed in the township file, and the letters have also been forwarded to the Secretary Treasurer for the County of Wellington Land Division Committee for their file when the application is placed on their Land Division Committee agenda.
Okay, were there any agency comments?
The only comment we had was from the Township's Fire Department, and once again, Mr. Chair, they had no concerns with this application.
Okay, and you were asked to see what our roads division was saying about this property. Any comments from them?
Actually, yes, I spoke with the Director of Public Works this morning, and he said that he has no concerns or issues with the possibility of a heavy increase in traffic for that area. Because it's a residential property, the expectation will be that a couple of cars per day will go down that road. But he also mentioned that once an entrance permit has been submitted, then the review of the proper sightlines will be done and reported back to the clerk's department.
Okay, very nice. So could you read out the comments you propose to send?
Certainly, we'll have our standard financial comment. We'll also require an approved entrance permit, verifying safe access and sightlines to the severed parcel. And we'll be adding the requirement that the owner achieve zoning conformity for the reduced MDS setbacks.
Okay, so let's go around the table. So if any members have any comments to make, Deep?
No.
Paul?
No.
Dan?
No comment.
Dennis?
No.
Okay, and I have no comments as well. So have a mover for the submission as read out by Lynn. Mover?
I can move it.
Okay, moved by Dan, second by Dennis. Okay, let's go around the table. Deep?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
Dan?
Approve.
Dennis?
Approve.
I approve as well. So let's go on to other matters. We have none. Closed meeting. We have none. Next meeting is Tuesday, June the 8th of 2021 at 7 p.m. And the adjournment at 7:58 p.m. To have a mover for adjourning at 7:58 p.m. Deep, second by Dennis. Go around the table. Deep. Deep, you're muted.
Approved.
Okay, Paul.
Approved.
Dan?
Approve.
Dennis?
Approve.
And I approve as well. So good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good
Good
evening.
one.
Good night.
Hey, good night.